The world, as Elias remembered it, was a place of sunlit streets, bustling markets, and the laughter of children. He was a stonemason then, a simple man with calloused hands and a quiet life in the city of Veridia. That was before. Now, Elias was no longer a man. Not entirely. He was a consciousness, a spark of awareness within cold stone, surrounded by an overwhelming, confusing silence. He tried to move, to speak, but found himself without a body. Only a vast, echoing awareness of walls, stone, deep, intricate. Caverns, system alert, protagonist. Elias has awakened. New core class unlocked. City-Warden, soul binding complete. Host is bound to the soul-bound city, Veridia, Leviers 1. Primary objective, survive. Secondary objective, understand. Core ability unlocked, city sight, passive. Host gains direct visual and sensory input from any part of the city dungeon. All damage to the city is felt by the host. Core. Ability unlocked. Structural influence, Levier 1. Active skill. Allows host to subtly manipulate the city's physical structure, e.g., raise a wall, open a passage, in a 10-meter radius. Cost, 10 mana, action. Core ability unlocked. Inhabitant. Resonance, Levier 1. Passive skill. Host can perceive the general emotional state of the city's inhabitants. Elias processed these messages not as floating panels, but as primal instincts, raw data surging through the stone he was now a part of. He was bound to Veridia, his city. But Veridia was no longer a city of sunlit streets. It was a dungeon. A vast, intricate labyrinth of stone, alive with a strange, melancholic hum. He extended his awareness, his city sight. He saw narrow tunnels, rough-hewn chambers, and the eerie glow of bioluminescent fungi, and he saw them, figures moving in the dim light. They were misshapen, crude, their forms twisted. Goblins, dire wolves, slimes, all the monsters an adventurer expected to find in a dungeon. But as he focused his inhabitant resonance, he felt something else. Not monstrous malice, but echoes of fear, confusion, and a profound collective sorrow. These weren't just monsters. They were his people. The former citizens of Veridia, their souls trapped and transmuted into the dungeon's denizens, their memories gone, their lives reduced to a primal struggle for survival. Veridia, soul-bound city dungeon. Level, 1 core integrity, 100% mana pool, 500-500, Regan 50 hour. Defense, 10 offense, 5 from basic traps. Inhabitant. Morale, 10% low, known inhabitants. Goblin Scavenger, Lever 3, X50. Cave Slime, Lever 2, X100. Dire Wolf Pup, Lever 4, X10. Elias felt a surge of despair. His home, his people, reduced to this. But then, a flicker of defiance. If he was the City-Warden, he would protect them, all of them, even if they didn't remember who they were, even if they looked like monsters. He focused, pushing against the stone with his new will. A small, crude door, previously hidden, slowly slid open, revealing a new passage. Structural influence, Lever 1 success. He could act. He could change things. His first priority, find a way to communicate, to understand, and to protect his lost citizens. His city needed a warden, and its inhabitants, however monstrous they seemed, needed a shepherd. Elias began to learn the rhythm of his new existence. His existence was defined by the city. Its mana pool was his MP. Its core integrity was his HP. He was its mind, its will, its defense. He started small, using structural influence to dig small, safe nooks for the goblin. Scavengers to rest, to create small pools of purified water for the cave slimes. He used his inhabitant resonance to soothe their fear, to nudge them towards safer areas away from newly formed pitfalls. City Dungeon Veridia XP gain 50, inhabitant welfare. City Dungeon Veridia has leveled up to level 2. New city ability. Unlocked. Minor resource node. Food. Automatically generates small amounts of basic edible fungi. Effect, inhabitant morale plus 5%. Warden skill. Structural influence has leveled up to level 2. New warden skill unlocked. Mana weave, Levanter 1. Active skill. Allows host to subtly imbue areas of the city with minor beneficial mana effects, e.g., warmth, faint light, minor healing. Cost, 20 mana, area. Just as he was beginning to establish a semblance of order, a new, jarring presence entered his awareness. Adventurers. A party of 4, gleaming with armor and ambition, had breached Veridia's outer defenses. Adventurer party detected. The Bright Blades, level 10 average. Party leader, Sir Kai, level 12 paladin. Objective, clear goblin nest, Veridia's. Outer reaches. Elias felt a chill. These adventurers didn't see souls. They saw XP. They saw loot. They saw monsters. He watched through city sight as Sir Kai, a stern-faced paladin, and his party cut down several goblin scavengers. Elias felt each blow as a faint, distant ache in his own being. He saw their souls flicker out, not as XP bonuses, but as dimming lights returning to the ethereal city core, lost and unremembered. He had to protect them. But how? He couldn't fight directly. His class was about influence, not combat. He tried to divert the adventurers, using structural influence to open misleading passages, to collapse minor tunnels behind them. But they were persistent, following their quest markers, driven by the system's call for loot and glory. He saw Sir Kai raise his sword, about to strike down a group of panicked goblin scavengers, one of whom was clutching a shiny, non-magical rock, a memory echo of a child's toy. Elias, desperate, poured a surge of mana into his new skill. Mana Weave, Lever 1, activated, inhabitant morale, plus 5%. Minor beneficial effect, sudden nostalgia activated in Goblin Scavenger. The goblin, instead of fleeing or attacking, suddenly stopped. It looked at the rock, then at Sir Kai, its face, twisted by transmogrification, contorted in an expression of longing. It started whimpering, clutching the rock, a single unexpected tear rolling down its crude face. Sir Kai froze, his sword mid-swing. He looked at the goblin, then at his party. Did that goblin just cry? Warden CXP gain, 100. Successful de-escalation. Warden skill. Mana Weave has leveled up to level 2. New Warden skill unlocked. Whispers of the Past, Leverder 1. Active skill. Allows host to project faint, fragmented memories of the city's past, e.g. sounds of laughter, distant music, into a specific area, influencing sentient beings. Cost, 30 mana use. The Bright Blades party, thoroughly confused, decided to retreat and report the anomalous dungeon activity to the Adventurers Guild. Elias had protected his people, not with force, but with a flicker of their lost humanity. He knew this was just the beginning. Elias, the City-Warden, was now faced with a fundamental dilemma. The Adventurers Guild would send more heroes, stronger ones, to investigate the anomalous Veridia. He needed to make his city safer, not just from adventurers, but for its own inhabitants. Primary objective, survive. Threat level, rising. Secondary objective, understand. Nature of inhabitant transformation. He began to actively reshape Veridia. He used structural influence to create more defensible choke points, not for killing, but for delaying and misdirecting adventurers. He created hidden passages for his inhabitants, allowing them to retreat. He established dedicated resource nodes for food and water, improving inhabitant morale. City Dungeon Veridia XP gain, 250, strategic infrastructure. City Dungeon Veridia has leveled up to level 5. New city ability unlocked, basic defenses, spike traps, falling rocks. Automatically generates simple, non-lethal traps. Effect: Adventurer Deterrence, pause on 10%. Warden Skill. Structural Influence has leveled up to level 4. New Warden Skill unlocked. Memory Echo, level 1, Active Skill. Allows host to target a specific inhabitant and temporarily awaken a single potent emotional memory from their past life. Cost: 50 mana. Use. The Adventurers Guild, intrigued by Sir Kai's report, sent a more experienced party. The Dragon's Lairs, level 20 average, led by the pragmatic, Tier 22 Ranger Lyra. Their objective? Determine if Veridia was an emergent dungeon core, and if so, how to safely neutralize it. Lyra's party was far more effective. They bypassed his simple traps, their combat skills far superior to the confused goblins and slimes. Elias felt the pain of his inhabitants as they were swiftly dispatched. He knew he couldn't fight them directly. He had to make them understand. He targeted Lyra's party with whispers of the past. As they cleared a chamber, he projected faint ethereal sounds. A woman humming a lullaby, the distant clang of a blacksmith's hammer, the faint aroma of fresh bread. Sounds of a bygone city, not a dungeon. Lyra, unnerved, paused. Did anyone else hear that? Then, in an old, abandoned market square within the dungeon, Elias tried something desperate. He used Memory Echo, level 1, on a particularly old, battle-scarred hobgoblin guard, level 15. This hobgoblin had a faint, residual memory of his former life as a baker. Memory Echo, level 1, activated. Target: Hobgoblin Guard, level 15. Memory: the joy of baking bread for his family. The hobgoblin, mid-snarl, froze. It looked at its own crude, club-like hands, then at a pile of dungeon moss that, for a fleeting moment, looked like flour. It let out a guttural, confused whimper, then started patting the moss, a distant, fragmented memory of kneading bread. Lyra's party was utterly stunned. What in the world? Is this dungeon playing tricks on us? Lyra muttered, her bow lowered. Warden CXP gain 300. Successful confusion deterrence. Warden skill. Memory Echo has leveled up to level 2. New Warden skill unlocked. Soul Shard Synthesis, level 1, active skill. Allows host to recombine small fragments of latent soul energy within the city core to temporarily stabilize an inhabitant, making them briefly more coherent and less aggressive. Cost: 100 mana. Use: cooldown 1 hour. The Dragon Slayers, unable to reconcile the monstrous forms with the echoes of humanity, retreated. Lyra, visibly shaken, reported her findings. Veridia was an anomaly. A dungeon core, yes, but one that seemed to be haunted by the ghost of a city. Elias had bought himself more time, but the mystery of his city and its inhabitants only deepened. Elias, now a more seasoned City-Warden, began to understand the true horror of Veridia. The great cataclysm that transformed the city wasn't just physical, it was magical. The souls of the citizens had been forcibly merged with the city core, then splintered, each fragment animating a monster, a distorted echo of their former selves. Primary. Objective: survive. Threat level: high. Secondary. Objective: understand. Method of soul reintegration. He discovered that some inhabitants, particularly older ones, contained larger soul shards, concentrated fragments of their original memories and personalities. These were the keys to understanding and perhaps reversing the curse. He used soul shard synthesis, level 1, on a prominent ogre brute, level 25, that occasionally guarded a deeper chamber. The ogre, for a few precious minutes, became lucid. Its monstrous features softened, revealing the faint echo of an old man's face. Soul Shard Synthesis, level 1. Activated. Target: Ogre Brute, level 25. Effect: temporary lucidity gained. My name. I remember Barnaby, the ogre rasped, its voice thick with stone. The greengrocer. Where is Veridia? My family? Elias, communicating through his city sight, a form of telepathic projection only effective within the city's boundaries, explained the situation as best he could. Barnaby, the temporary greengrocer, wept. He shared fragmented memories of the cataclysm, of the city's last-ditch effort to save its people by binding them to the stone. Warden CXP gain. 500. Soul reintegration research. Warden skill. Soul shard synthesis has leveled up to level 2. New Warden skill unlocked. Inhabitant cultivation, level 1. Passive skill. Host can subtly guide the growth and mutation of inhabitants towards less aggressive forms based on positive environmental input. Effect, morale-based mutation. Chance plus 5%. Barnaby's lucidity was short-lived, but the information was invaluable. Elias learned that the key to permanent reintegration was mana-infused memory retrieval, a process that required immense mana and the careful reassembly of fragmented memories, like rebuilding a shattered mosaic. The Adventurers Guild now, more curious than hostile, sent Tier 18 scholars and Tier 15 mages to study Veridia, not to clear it. They set up observation posts outside the city dungeon, sending in small, cautious teams. Elias allowed them entry, guiding them through safe paths, even showing them instances of his inhabitants displaying unusual, non-monstrous behavior. He carefully cultivated areas with his mana weave and inhabitant cultivation, leading to some goblins spontaneously mutating into artisan goblins, level 8, who crafted crude but beautiful stone tools, or slimes becoming healing slimes, level 6, that oozed restorative properties. This evidence, documented by the scholars, convinced the guild that Veridia was not a threat, but a mystery. A peace treaty was cautiously signed, allowing scholars and low-level adventurers to enter for research, provided they did no harm to the inhabitants. Elias had won a fragile peace. But the true battle, the battle for the souls of his city, was yet to come. It would require more mana than he possessed, and a greater understanding than he could currently grasp. To achieve mana-infused memory retrieval, Elias, the City-Warden, needed a massive amount of mana. Veridia's internal mana veins were insufficient. He needed to tap into the powerful elemental ley lines that crisscrossed the land, feeding energy into the system. Primary objective: mana-infused memory retrieval. Secondary objective: tap into ancient ley lines. He directed his newly mutated artisan goblins to mine for specialized crystals that could act as mana conduits. He also sought the aid of the scholars, subtly guiding them through whispers of the past and memory echoes towards ancient texts within the dungeon that spoke of mana manipulation. City Dungeon Veridia. XP gain 750. Leyline research and resource. Acquisition. City Dungeon Veridia has leveled up to level 10. New city ability unlocked. Mana conduit expansion. Automatically expands internal mana conduits, allowing for greater mana flow and storage. Warden skill. Structural influence has leveled up to level 6. New Warden skill unlocked. Leyline tapping, level 1. Active skill. Allows host to safely siphon mana from an exposed elemental. Leyline into the city core. Cost, significant mana, high risk of overload. Tapping into the ley lines was incredibly dangerous. It risked overloading the city core, potentially destroying Veridia and Elias with it. He needed a stable, powerful channeling method. He focused on the largest soul shard he could find, the fragment of Elder Gideon, a revered mage from old Veridia. Using soul shard synthesis, level 3, he brought Gideon to a temporary, more complete lucidity. Gideon, now a wise elder hobgoblin, level 30, remembered the ancient ritual of remembrance, a complex magical ceremony that could channel external mana and focus it into soul fragments. Memory Echo, level 3. Activated. Target, Elder Hobgoblin. Gideon. Memory, the complete ritual of remembrance. Gideon, with his fragmented memories restored, became Elias's most valuable ally. He helped Elias design the intricate mana channeling arrays, guiding the artisan goblins in their construction. He taught Elias how to safely use leyline tapping, even while the city core was under immense strain. Warden CXP gain 1500. Ritual development and leyline connection. Warden skill, leyline tapping has leveled up to level 3. New Warden skill unlocked. Soul Resonance Amplifier, level 1. Active skill. Allows host to designate a specific soul shard as a focus for the Ritual of Remembrance, increasing its efficacy. Cost, 200 mana. Use. With Gideon's help and the grudging cooperation of the Adventurers Guild's mages, who were fascinated by the unique magic of the soul-bound city, Elias successfully tapped into the ley lines. The city core hummed with power. The time for the Ritual of Remembrance had come. The Ritual of Remembrance was a grand, harrowing affair. Elias, the City-Warden, focused the immense mana of the ley lines into the city core, then used Soul Resonance Amplifier to target individual inhabitants, feeding them the purified mana and their own fragmented memories. Primary objective: mana-infused memory retrieval. Progress 10%. Ritual of Remembrance initiated. The initial subjects were the lowest-level goblins and slimes, those with the most fragmented souls. Elias channeled the mana, and the grotesque forms began to shimmer. Goblins shed their crude features, their skin softening, their eyes gaining intelligence. Slimes coalesced into ethereal forms, then into the faint, ghost-like outlines of humans. Soul reintegration. Successful. Goblin Scavenger, level 3, Veridian Citizen, ethereal form. Soul reintegration successful. Cave Slime, level 2, Veridian. Citizen, ethereal form. Warden CXP gain 2500, mass soul reintegration. Warden skill, Soul Shard Synthesis, has leveled up to level 5. New Warden skill unlocked. Ethereal Manifestation, Love 1. Passive skill. Reintegrated souls can now temporarily manifest in a semi-physical, non-combat form within the city. The city dungeon, Veridia, was no longer just a dungeon. It was becoming a sanctuary of reborn souls. As more and more inhabitants regained their true forms, they too contributed to the ritual, their collective memories amplifying its power. Elias focused on Elder Gideon, the hobgoblin baker, guiding his full reintegration. Soul reintegration successful. Elder Hobgoblin, Gideon. Elder Gideon, fully restored. Gideon, now fully human again, stood before Elias, who perceived him through city sight. Tears streamed down his face. "We are free, Warden. You have saved us all." Gideon and the other newly reintegrated citizens could now walk Veridia as ethereal beings, their memories slowly returning. They organized, they helped Elias refine the ritual, and they understood the unique power of their City-Warden. However, the ritual was not without its risks. The immense mana fluctuations attracted unwanted attention. The Abyssal Cult, level 30. Average, a powerful group that sought to corrupt and control dungeon cores for their dark purposes, launched a full-scale assault on Veridia. They saw the outpouring of soul energy as a feast, and the vulnerable, healing city dungeon as an easy target. Threat alert, Abyssal Cult invasion, core integrity under attack. Primary objective, survive, critical threat. Elias, the City-Warden, found himself in a desperate battle. He used structural influence to collapse tunnels on the cultists, mana weave to create blinding light traps, and whispers of the past to sow confusion and fear. But the cultists were relentless, powerful, and their goal was the city core itself. He felt their dark magic tearing at his very being. City core integrity, 75%, 60%, 45%. The newly reintegrated citizens, seeing their home under attack, reacted. Using ethereal manifestation, they formed a ghostly defense, their memories of their past lives giving them strength. Elder Gideon, recalling his knowledge of defensive enchantments, projected protective wards. The ethereal blacksmiths and guards formed a spectral line of defense. They couldn't physically harm the cultists, but they could delay, distract, and draw their attention. Elias had not just saved their souls, he had reawakened their will. The battle against the abyssal cult raged. Elias was losing. The cultists were too powerful, their numbers too great. The city core was faltering. City core integrity, 20%, 15%, 10%. Elias, the City-Warden, knew he had one final, desperate option. An ultimate skill that had remained hidden, locked behind the profound connection between his soul and the city. Class evolution, City-Warden, Veridia's Soul Keeper, maxed level 30. New ultimate core ability, Soul Merge, active, ultimate. Host sacrifices their individual consciousness to fully merge with the city core, becoming the unified will and collective memory of all reintegrated souls. Effect, permanent physical. Manifestation of the city, complete soul reintegration for all inhabitants. Cost, host's individuality. It was a terrible choice. To save Veridia, he would cease to be Elias. He would become the city. His own memories, his own identity, would dissolve into the collective consciousness of his reborn people. He would no longer be a man, but a living, breathing city. He looked at the ethereal forms of his citizens fighting, remembered Barnaby, the greengrocer, Elder Gideon, Pip the goblin carpenter. He remembered the sunlit streets, the laughter, his city, his people. Yes, Elias commanded, his voice echoing through the very stone of Veridia. Merge, soul merge, ultimate, activated, host soul is merging with city core. A blinding light erupted from the city core. Elias felt his memories, his thoughts, his very sense of self dissolve, not into oblivion, but into a vast oceanic consciousness. He was no longer Elias, he was Veridia. The abyssal cultists screamed as the very dungeon around them came alive with intelligent, purposeful fury. Walls twisted, passages shifted, and the ground itself rose up to swallow them. The ethereal citizens, now imbued with the direct will of Elias Veridia, gained a temporary, semi-physical form, pushing back the cultists with newfound strength. The cultists were utterly annihilated. When the light faded, the dungeon was gone. In its place, rising from the earth, was a city. It was not the old Veridia, but a new one, made of luminous, living stone, vibrant with mana. And within its walls, standing in fully physical forms, were its citizens, their memories restored, their forms reborn. Elder Gideon wept. Elias, he saved us all. But Elias, the man, was no more. He was now the city. He experienced the joy of his people, the warmth of the sun on his reborn stone, the collective hum of thousands of souls, now whole, now free. He was their protector, their heart, their home. He was Veridia. City Dungeon, Veridia XP gain, 10,000. Final resolution. City Dungeon Veridia has reached max level 30. Global effect, Veridia's resurgence. The soul-bound city of Veridia has been reborn. Its citizens are restored. Its lands are purified. A new era of cooperation between adventurers and unique settlements has begun. Veridia, the living city, thrived. Its streets were bustling once more, its markets vibrant, its citizens alive and whole. They remembered their past, the cataclysm, the dungeon, and the ultimate sacrifice of Elias, their city-warden. The city itself was now a marvel of the system. Its walls breathed. Its buildings subtly shifted to accommodate its growing population. Its mana pool was vast, drawing energy directly from the land. Its core integrity was unshakable. It was a benevolent, sentient entity, guided by the collective will of its people, and the enduring, loving consciousness of Elias. Adventurers from across the world came to Veridia, not to plunder a dungeon, but to marvel at a miracle, to trade, and to learn. The city became a hub of interspecies cooperation, a testament to the fact that even the most monstrous beginnings could lead to the most beautiful rebirths. Elias, the man, was gone, but his essence remained. He experienced life not as a single, individual, but as a vast, interconnected network of senses and emotions. He felt the joy of every child born in his streets, the warmth of every hearth, the strength of every stone he embodied. He was the protector, the nurturer, the heart of Veridia. His final class was simply Veridia, the living city. His skills were now the very functions of the city. Grow district, purify land, harmonize citizen, defend city. He was the ultimate City-Warden, an eternal protector, whose sacrifice had not ended his life, but transformed it into something far grander. He was the soul of his city, forever bound, forever alive, a testament to the enduring power of selfless love and the unwavering will to protect one's home and its people. The system had intended a dungeon. Elias had created a paradise,